Hi, y'all. I am doing a live. Just a shout out to everyone on this holiday. Um, and we have a lot more time um, as general as the kind of the world. Um, the world has kind of slowed down for this weekend. And I've had a lot of inspiration lately from my mentor, Kai, um, who has does lives often and does in her kitchen and while cooking. So I'm going to be cooking lunch today for Annabelle and I while doing this live and talking about how the shifts of thinking are changing to bring in more abundance for 2022 and what that means for us as a family and what that means for Earth Minded Landscapes as well. Annabelle's saying hi. Hi. So 2021 has brought a lot of changes for us as a family. I'm going to set you down, okay? Thank you. We moved from Oregon to Asheville and decided to do a farm here in Asheville. We had a hard time finding a place and ended up getting an apartment in town, so we had housing. We just moved on to our new farm that we're renting. Has a small apartment and 15 acres, and it's pretty awesome. The shifts that have occurred, and for us in 2021 as a family, has been tremendous. We became very clear on what we wanted, and then we took a look at everything in our life and began to shed the things that weren't working for us. Now, shedding is a process that is something that I recommend doing over time so that you can allow yourself, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and your physical bodies to transition with ease. We didn't do that. And we learned that kind of in a hard way. Annabelle is a great teacher for us when we do things too fast, because we see it the most in her. She hasn't numbed herself to that, to expressing these feelings that she has. She's getting into her drawer, and I was like, "Is that okay?" So yeah, we started the business again. Something that I did I started this business in 2017 as Restoration Orchard, and then through a divorce, well, I didn't lose, but it was a collective decision to shut down Restoration Orchard and sell the 70-acre permaculture farm that I had been building and designing and working on for 3 years. And so we decided to start it again because it is actually something that falls really deeply aligned with our passions. That's something that 2022 brought us. It was like this shedding of things, this shedding of places, and really being clear. We have shedded a lot of objects again, living very tiny, consistently living tiny. That's something that's like very clear to us that we need to be doing. Made room and space for us to process emotions that we hadn't. Particularly, my current partner and I didn't process a lot of feelings around what happened during the separation with my last partner, selling of the farm, shutting down of the business. And then we didn't really were able to process COVID, the pandemic, and what happened there. No, ma'am. We're gonna stay out of this door, okay? This cabinet. We're gonna shut this, but we can play in other ones.
Okay.
Why don't you try this one? Yeah, the COVID kind of put us in acceleration, pushed us to work that we weren't very passionate about, but was absolutely necessary for our lives. The shutdown was really strong. And affected our work really heavily, both my partner and I. And this shedding process that we did, and it began for us, the shedding process began in early 2021. It began emotionally, spiritually, and then it began to manifest itself, or not manifest, but we began to put it into action in our physical environments. It created this spaciousness for us to process, and we did some deep processing, and we felt it very deeply in our bodies. And then after this processing, we began to have more joy and more happiness and being more grateful, and the not having these trauma reactions, because we were able to process some really deep things. And we got sick a couple times because our body was like really, really clearing out these really deep emotions. And actually we are still healing from that and using food and nature as a modality to help us heal. We wanted to be more simple, and we became very clear that what we were supposed to be doing, which was working on the land and working with others on the land, whether in teaching or in consultation or installing their own homesteads or their own gardens or their own permaculture visions or ecological design visions. It was really clear this is what we needed to be doing. And as soon as we became clear on that, as soon as we became clear and we began to put the work in, and I think that was like, that's the key point, is like, you have to get the vision, and then you have to put the work in, and you consistently put that work in. I think that Kai, my mentor, is really amazing at pointing that out and holding me accountable to that. And it's something I deeply appreciate about my relationship with that person is that accountability. And as soon as we became diligent and consistent in that work, and being and not putting our time into things that wasn't aligned with that vision, other opportunities began to come up that we were now able to see. It's not as if these weren't there before. It was, we were focused on the other things. And so now we started taking these opportunities and having win-win situations with the people who are giving these opportunities, and us as well, like receiving these opportunities, and that gratefulness and the joy that it creates. So 2022 vision and the thinking for 2022 is not fast. That's something that 2021, 2020, 2019, actually even 2019 for me, has really, really showed me. And it's not, and although it can occur fast, it's not in fast thinking that is going to make these things happen. It is for me, and I think also for my family and for our business, it's the slow implementation and the simple task of living with nature again. We just went for a walk along the ridgeline and singing some of our favorite songs, and what joy that brought. We saw deer, we heard birds, we looked at berries, we saw worms, Annabelle and I out walking. And this has been what we look forward, Annabelle looks forward to it, I look forward to our walk every day. No matter how I'm feeling or how much there is to do inside. You don't even want to see how much of a disaster my home is after moving. But these walks are tremendous for us. And what a release and what a gratefulness and openness that it brings for us. And makes me excited for the work to come. Makes me excited for the chicken fence that we're going to be putting in, and preparing rows for fava beans and cold hardy plants. So 2022 thinking is focused on that slow integration back into the seasons. Into that slow integration of thinking in grateful abundance. And having a simple life with simple thinking. How much can I provide for myself from the land? I think really is going to be a huge focus for me and my family for 2022. How much can I work with the land? How much can I give to the land and it give to me? To manifest, or not manifest, but create, which is manifestation. Manifestation is a physical thing of creation. Creating that abundance. And it's pretty exciting. I know that I talk a lot about like spreadsheets and visioning and planning and calculating, and these are things that I do to help my neurodivergent brain be able to process things like finances and things like succession planting and things like how many pounds of sweet potatoes do I need to feed my family for a year? Okay, well, let me record that. Otherwise, I have to constantly think about it to remember it. Getting a daily planner and using that for the garden. And it's structured to be for business or journaling or whatever, but we're using it for the garden and the observations and what did we plant and what did we observe from the soil. What did we do today, and then marking it on the calendar of when it needs to be transplanted, when it needs to be up-potted, when does the compost need to be turned. And so there's that central place for us. And what that does for me, actually, that supports that simple living and that ability to slowly integrate and to have spaciousness. It's that spaciousness where I'm not constantly having to think and plan and worry because I have it planned out, or I know that I am figuring it out, and I have a place to record these places and look back at things that I've noticed and things that I've seen and things that I've done. And it also helps me celebrate the things that I have done. So yeah, 2022, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking for connecting with more people. I'm looking to being on the land. I'm looking to really looking forward to spending more time with my family, growing food, building a tiny home, going off grid. These are tremendous things for us, and they bring us so much joy. So comment below if you're watching this video, what are you looking forward to in 2022, and how are your visions or your thoughts shifting as you're coming out of another year in the pandemic or another year in your land, and both? How are you shifting? And how is your thinking shifting for 2022 to create that abundance and gratefulness and joy for you and your family? Well, you all have a great weekend celebrating this holiday, and hopefully you can slow down a little bit and take some breaths for yourself and be present with your family.